Hey YouTube, welcome to Sunkerns Lab. Today I have a UU battle on Pokemon Showdown. Looking at my opponent's team, he has a really balanced team, a really good defensive core with the Snorlax and the Gligar, and the rest of his team is relatively bulky as well. So, starting right off the start of this battle, I had a feeling that I was going to have a hard time breaking through his team. And so for that reason, I really wanted to get at my hazards as quick as possible, because nothing on his team is immune to hazards, nothing on his team, except for the Gligar, is immune to spikes. So I figured that getting up spikes and Stealth Rocks would be my #1 priority to start weakening those bulky Pokemon and getting his team down to the point where I can bring in something fast late game and possibly finish up. So looking at his actual team composition though, I figured that he would either lead with his Raikou to go for the Volt Switch or his Gligar to go for the Stealth Rock. So I decided to lead with my Frostlass because Frostlass can taunt the Gligar and I can easily just switch out into my Claydol to take the Volt Switch from the Raikou. So that's actually what I end up doing. I lead with my Frostlass. He does end up leading with his Gligar, and I'm going to go for the taunt straight off because I don't want him to get his Stealth Rocks up. But he does end up switching to a Snorlax. Now, at this point, I had no clue what kind of Snorlax this was, so I decided that I was going to stay in, hopefully, predict the Body Slam or something, but, or possibly that he wouldn't have any move to hit me with, but he ends up being the Choice Banded set with Crunch, so I end up losing my Frostlass basically turn 2, which is okay, because I did get up 1 layer of spikes, and that does give me a free switch into my Empoleon to set up my Stealth Rock. So, at this point, I have my Stealth Rocks up, I have my spikes up, and he ends up switching into his Kingdra, and I'm assuming he didn't expect me to have Roar, but unfortunately for him, I do have Roar, so I'm able to roar him out into a Snorlax, and he basically just wasted a substitute. And like I said, I roared him out into a Snorlax. He ends up going for the EQ, and I know for a fact he's Choice Banded, so it definitely would have killed me. But I ended up getting the burn with the Scald, and it's not really going to make a difference because the Snorlax wouldn't have been able to really do much after that anyway, because I could have just, like I said, switched into my Claydol to take the EQ. So he does go for the EQ, obviously, again, trying to take me out, but I switch out into my Claydol, then I pull a double switch, predicting him to switch into something else. And he does end up switching into his Kingdra, so I'm able to take the Kingdra out really early, and that's great because it was probably a substitute Dragon Dance set, which could have done a lot of work to my team. So, yeah, I'm able to take that thing out with a Life Orb Seed Flare, and he does switch into his Darmanitan, and because he switched it in on my Shaman, I was assuming that it was Scarfed, but it turns out that he's Life Orbed, as you can see from the Life Orb recoil when he goes for Superpower, which is great because that basically means that my Mienshao outspeeds his whole team, barring his Heracross, which is most likely Scarfed. Actually, and his Raikou, but Raikou isn't really going to want to switch in on a high jump kick. So, anyway, I go for the U-turn, predicting his Gligar, and because he doesn't really have anything to switch into a Seed Flare, he's basically forced to keep his Gligar in, and I know that, so I decided to go straight for the Hidden Power Ice, take that thing out, and basically open up a window for me to take out anything I want with my Darmanitan or my Mienshao. But he does bring in his Darmanitan straight out after that, trying to revenge kill me, but unfortunately, because I knew he was Life Orbed and I'm timid max speed, I know I'll be able to outspeed him, so I do end up taking him out with the Earth Power. And then he brings in his Raikou, goes for the Hidden Power Ice, and I end up living on 4%, and I'm able to almost take him out with an Earth Power, but he ends up living on 1%, so we both actually end up living on little tiny smidgens of HP. But it's not a big deal for me because I can bring in my Scarfed Darmanitan and basically just finish up the rest of his team because his Snorlax is pretty much dead to hazards. If that thing was full health, then it would have been a pretty big issue to deal with. And then his Heracross is basically dead to a Flare Blitz because if it's Scarfed, it's still slower than me because I'm 95 base speed and he's 85 base speed. So yeah, basically this team that I built was basically built around weakening the opponent's team with hazards and then basically bringing in Scarf Darmanitan, which is one of the fastest Scarfers in the tier at the moment. Bringing in the Scarf Darmanitan and basically taking out the remainder of the opponent's team with Flare Blitz. And that's basically how this battle went. It was basically a perfect battle. The team basically worked exactly how it was meant to work. And yeah, that's pretty much that. I know this is a short video, but it was a good battle. I figured that I would upload it because it was basically perfect. It was a perfect battle if there ever was one. It wasn't a 6-0, but the team composition, the team basically worked exactly how it was supposed to work, so I figured that it was worth uploading. Anyway, if you want to see my previous Pokemon Showdown commentary, you can click on the button on the screen. If you want to see the next video when it's uploaded, you can click on that other button on the screen. And if you want to subscribe to my channel, you can click the subscribe button on your screen. And other than that, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.